Hi, good afternoon, friends. We are meeting again today from the Divine School of Homeopathy. A warm welcome to all of you. Yesterday, we have learned only two biocombinations, and we have learned the therapeutics of a fever while discussing the biocombination number 11. My way of approaching the fever cases that I have discussed, and I have told you whatever the approach which I used to use, I have shared that logic with you. Today we'll go ahead, but before going ahead, I want to share something which is very essential and very important for all of us. This gave me a lot of confidence regarding the arsenic album again. I will tell you an incident what has happened. 2 days back, I have during session, I have stopped session very short. I have done it very short because there was some reason. What has happened with my brother's hospital? One patient was admitted, and he was admitted for the pancreatitis, alcoholic pancreatitis, and that patient was his regular patient. Every 2 months, 3 months, or every 1.5 months, he used to get admitted over there because of alcoholism and pancreatitis. And now 5 days back he was admitted for the same complaints with nausea, vomiting and pain in abdomen. So everyone in the hospital recognizes him properly and everyone knows him. And after 4 days, on the 5th day, there was a phone call for my brother that whether this patient is admitted in your hospital. He said yes. And then the doctor from RH, he said that he was the attendee over there in death of one of the COVID patient in funeral. So we have to take his swab. And his swab was taken and it found to be positive. So it was a havoc. He was not having fever, he was not having anything, he was just having a pancreatitis and features of pancreatitis, and all of a sudden change in the environment happened. And he was found to be positive, and then whole staff along with my brother, his wife, everyone, the swab was taken. Everyone have taken arsenic album 15 days back and even 3-4 days back again a dose. And everyone's swab was taken. And yesterday at night the result came and all of them were negative. He was admitted for 5 days. Every worker have worked out, someone have put him intracath, someone have used or cleared his bed every time. He was there along with the relatives over there. But even after 5 days of patient who was admitted over there, no one found to be a positive. This is very important. One must think about that how it works, how it stimulates innate immunity. And that's why I suggest all of you that this is a very good drug. You should give at least single dose to your friends, patients, relatives. Just provide at least single dose. I'm not saying that you must repeat it every time. After 15 days you can repeat 1 dose more if the patients are there. But this worked a lot, and this gave me again a confidence. Yes, homeopathy works. So that was a good thing which I want to share with you, and that's why I was little bit worried 2 days because there were no reports were there till yesterday night, and at 11:30 or quarter to 12 the reports found to be negative of all of them. So this is a good thing. Everyone must learn something from this incidents. Now we'll go ahead with some questions which were asked first, and then we'll go ahead with the biocombination number 13. There was one question asked that what would be the drug of choice, specifically biochemic, because there are a number of patients suffering from burning all over the body, especially in this summer, and it is common complaint. So how will you approach with these cases? My suggestion, simple suggestion, during summer, whenever the burning fit syndrome is there, first choice of remedy, if if the characteristic, generally common characteristic is that patient feels better by keeping it in cold water or keeping them on cold surfaces. That is the common entity, common characteristic, and remedy of choice is always a sulfur. If it varies, if the characteristic modality happens to be there, otherwise generally this is the reason. But I used to add one important remedy in such cases. I used to give them either Califos or either biocombination 24. Califos is a very good tranquilizer. It removes or it covers the neuralgic pains, and it is very important remedy in such types of cases. Along with that, number of times I used to use 24 because all 5 phos are there in 24. So phosphorus itself covers the burning, and all 5 phos are there, out of which the MACphos and Califos, they are very important neuralgic remedies. So 5-phos is another solution which I used to use, but most common is Califosphoricum, which I used to give to those patients in summer complaints. Then second question was there from Dr. Prachi, that she asked that I missed that rehydration formula on that day. Rehydration formula, it is a very good simple technique which can be used in anywhere. It was told by Dr. Anil Mokashi from Baramati. In a 1 glass of water, you put 4 TSF of sugar, 1 pint of the common salt, and 1 pint of the soda which you used to eat, and that stir it thoroughly, and that solution is the oral rehydration solution. So it's very easy method. So I used to tell the patients, 1 glass पानी, 4 चमचे साखर, चिमूटभर मीठ, चिमूटभर खाण्याचा सोडा, finished. And patientचं पाठ झालं. Everyone have known that sir used to tell this thing to them if the fever is there, or if by any means the dehydration is there, or if gastroenteritis is there. I used to tell this very commonly, and this is simple, that instead of purchasing Electrol or like solutions, it's too simple to prepare at home, and it's too tasty also. Sometimes patient asks, shall we add the lemon in it? If patient is not having cough, you can add. It doesn't create any problem. Then it becomes more tasty. So that is the rehydration formula. And she has commented regarding the one more thing, cabbage steam or coffee. This is not mine, Prachi, because I never used this in my practice. I was not knowing, but there was good discussion regarding it in the group. I learned a lot. Someone have put the reasons behind that. Dr. Chandrakant added over there, the Dr. Vibhavari, she has added again the importance of it. So I learned a lot, but it was not mine. If it is there in your mind, someone have told you. That was another thing. One more thing which was mentioned over there, when I share this post, some people takes the objections. Either there is 1 or 2 objections regarding my lecture. My suggestion is that whatever the people wants to do, they should. Everyone has their own identity, their own intellect, their own ego. They have learned somewhere else, and that's why number of times new things never gets digested very easily. This is common thing. If someone tells you as this is the thing, you never adjust, you never get immediately adjusted with the thing. So things happen like that. Don't take them so seriously. Let it be. This will, if you are practicing homeopathy, everyone will not going to appreciate your practice. There are number of people who used to contradict, who used to comment on you. There are a number of people. It happens. Criticism is always there when you go ahead. So never look towards the criticism negatively, take it positively and go ahead with your own way. You can learn a lot. So that is also one more thing, that nothing to worry about all those things. If someone comments, let him comment, because he has in own mind. So that doesn't make any difference to anyone, or even not for me. So these are the only things which were asked as the questions over there. Now we'll turn towards our biocombination. We'll just revise in short what we have learned in the previous lecture. We have learned first the biocombination 11 along with the approach towards the concept of a fever. So how I think whenever I used to treat the fever, so I never generally gives biocombination 11 and as a simple prescription. I think a lot before that, before prescribing any remedy. So I used to use remedy depending upon what may be the cause. So that already discussed in detail. So biocombination 11, the Perampos, Calimur, Califos, Natramnur, Natramsol, and the reasons behind that also we have discussed in detail. Second important combination which we have discussed on that day was the headache. We have given a lot of time for the fever because it was a hot issue, and same is true for the headache. I think you would have done the homework, that you have read the causes of a fever, the causes of a headache from the Davidson or Hutchinson book, and make the thoughts clear regarding the causes behind them. If you would have not, my suggestion is that again go home, read it again and again, so that your logic becomes very clear, and then it becomes very simple to approach. Today we'll going to learn the next one, that is the biocombination number 13. 13 is mentioned for leukorrhea. People think that to use this biocombination is very easy. So if patient complains of leukorrhea, give 13 and patient settles. It's not so. You have to understand why leukorrhea is there. Do you know the causes behind the leukorrhea? I used to think whether if a patient complains of leukorrhea, first important thing you have to differentiate whether it is physiological or pathological. If it is physiological, there is no need to give the medicine. Just keeping the personal hygiene is a very important entity. That's all. Nothing more requires to. So first important thing is that you have to understand what is normal and what is abnormal first. So physiological leukorrhea happens to be there sometimes in the puberty, sometimes even during the pregnancy also, sometimes due to some sexual excitement, the discharge happens to be there, and all those things are generally they are the physiological. Sometimes it happens that estrogen surge is there, sometimes sudden increase in estrogen, and estrogen surge itself is responsible to produce a leukorrhea. And such occasional leukorrhea, when happens in this manner, never requires a medicine. At that time, what is your suggestion matters a lot. So you tell the patient regarding the personal hygiene, keeping the things clear and clean will clear that leukorrhea, and no medicine should be added. Because those discharges are necessary in order to maintain the physiology inside the body. So don't stop it by any means. Number of times it happens that immediately some people start using the medicines. Unnecessary medication creates the problems, and that's why my suggestion is that don't go for medicines directly. If it is pathological, then you have to think what may be the different reasons. If it is pathological, then you have to understand what may be the commonest cause. Commonest cause in the female who are married, either a candidial infection, most common. Second common is the bacterial infection. Third common is it may be a sexually transmitted disease, can cause a cervicitis, can produce a leukorrhea. So The causes might be, there are two varieties, either they may be cervical, they may be vaginal. There are two different causes, different reasons. If it is because of cervical, there might be a cervicitis or cervical erosion which is also producing a leukorrhea. Now this is what you have to understand first. If the cause is like that, it might be because of cervical erosion, it might be because of cervicitis, and you are just giving medicine as a casual, will not going to work. So if cervicitis is there or cervical erosion is there, why that cervical erosion? What may be the pathophysiology? What may be the cause? What may be the miasm? Generally, if cervical erosion happens to be there, it generally is the product of a psychotic miasm or a psychosyphilitic miasm. Then you are prescribing a remedy that should cover that should match that. So unless and until you understand the disease, you should not prescribe for that. If it is because of cervical ulcer, cervicitis, again a psychosyphilitic, common psychosyphilitic entity. It might be a psoric when it happens because of the first intercourse or etc. That may be possibility, but at that time it is psoric. But generally when it remains over there for longer time of duration, and generally patient never turns towards the homeopathy directly, they goes to the allopaths, the gynecologist, they treats the gynecologist treats with local vaginal tablets along with the antibiotics, antifungals, and even to the both partners. All those things have been done, and still it persists because it never cures. Whatever is done is nothing but the palliative mode of treatment, and that never works in such types of patients. So you have to find it out exactly what may be the patient's problem. If you find it out that it is of a vaginal origin, then there might be a different reason. It might be a bacterial infection because of improper what you can say hygiene is not maintained over there, and that's why such infection can occur. Sometimes it might be a candidale, which is most common, which is producing pelvic inflammatory disease, PID. That is again a commonest cause. Sometimes there might be uterine prolapse, which is responsible to produce a vaginal discharge, leukorrhea. So there are different types of reasons behind the leukorrhea. Even anemia itself is one of the reasons behind the leukorrhea. So when you are dealing with the cases, deal them with a proper understanding of the disease, and then you think about the remedy. So it becomes simple when a patient comes in this manner. You ask details, you take the detailed history, find it out whether cause is local, first physiological or pathological, then if it is pathological, whether vaginal or whether cervix, whether it is pelvic inflammatory disease or it is because of some secondary causes like anemia, and accordingly think about the remedies. So if local infection is there, local candidal infection is there, I will give you a practical hint. Generally a local candidal and local bacterial infection, vaginal infection, or even sometimes cervical erosion, cervical ulcer, always use calendula mother tincture for local vaginal wash. Dilute that in a mug, that is jar of a which you used to use for bath. In that much of water, drop 20 drops of calendula mother tincture and ask them to do a vaginal wash internally. You will find that within a day or two, immediately the leukorrhea settles down. If it is of a candidal bacterial infection, a patient feels better immediately. It's very good hint. Even it is given in Borix Matramedica, but we never read the dose which is mentioned over there. He himself have mentioned it in the dose part, and I have experimented with it with the patients, and I am using it since last 29-30 years, and patients are very easily settled by applying that condition, applying the calendula mother tincture locally. That is the practical hint. It is not related with this 13 number. But these are first important things which are necessary. Then you go ahead with the biocombination number 13. Whether you are going to give biocombination 13 or you are going to learn or understand the contents of it, that is more important, because sometimes you will require only a single remedy, biochemic remedy. If it is because of some reason, disturbance at the emotional level and expressing it that as a leukorrhea, and there is a profuse watery discharge which happens because of emotional setback, then directly giving 13 will not going to use useful, but here Natramur plays very vital role. So Natramur should be there in biocombination number 13. One more important entity which is there are two muraticums. One is Natrum muraticum and second is Kali muraticum. And one more should be there, that is the Perum phosphoricum or Kali phosphoricum. Kali muraticum because it oozes a plastic fluid, it oozes a exudate, and that exudate is very, very, very important part of a Kali muraticum. So you must ask what type of leukorrhea is there, how the discharge is, that is very important. Patient gives you the hints, patient tells you the exactly. They talks you दह्यासारखा असतो, they talks you that it is like a curd. Sometimes that doctor it's only watery, only fluid which happens. Some people tell doctor it is very offensive. You get the characteristics, and characteristics are very important to find it out a remedy. So number of times they say that it is there. One more common word which is used by the peoples in Maharashtra, शेंबडा सारखा असतो, that is very another albuminous, mucoid, that is another entity which patient used to use the word. At that time Kali muraticum is very important remedy. So see, Kali mur is there, then we have learned that Natrum mur is there, two mur are there. Then there are two phos. One is Calcarea phos. Calcarea phos, yes, definitely it is there because it produces its discharges specifically with the tubercular adenitis, tubercular miasm. So discharges associated with the scrofulous diathesis, sometimes with the inguinal lymphadenopathy, the Calcarea phos plays very vital role. It's too good to be think of in such type. And one more phos is Kali phosphoricum. Stress is one of the important reason behind the leukorrhea. That stress if you tackle with the help of a Kali phosphoricum, the leukorrhea number of times it settles. So when you think about the combination, you think about all those ingredients which are there in the 13 number, and one more ingredient which is common over there is Kali sulfuricum. Kali sulfuricum plays a role whenever the discharge is yellowish. It is some pustular, bacterial, and this bacterial discharge is the part and parcel of Kali sulf metabolism. It happens that this discharge which contains a pus immediately settles with the help of a Kali sulf. So this, whenever you are using the this biocombination number 13, think about all those causes. Number of times everything is covered under the biocombination 13. But what happens? We become lazy. We never think before prescribing. We used to use Kali biocombination 13, yes, leukorrhea, give it simple way. No, my suggestion is that you think in a proper manner. If a patient is suffering from pelvic inflammatory disease which is imposed because of the psychotic miasm which was not there in that lady, and it was started just after marriage, she has started getting the trouble. Kent has very nicely explained in his philosophy that this is a sexually transmitted disease which is imposed from the husband number of times, and at that time you require a antipsychotic remedy. So the lady who was normal before marriage all of a sudden started developing pelvic inflammatory disease with leukorrhea. Think of a medorinum, think of a thuja, think of a Natrum sulfuricum, These are the remedies which are very, very, very important in treating such things. Second important thing, which is one more hint I want to discuss with all of you, that when in allopathy they uses logic and we never uses logic. They treats both the partners and we don't. This is too important, very, very essential, that if it founds to be a candidial, it is definitely imposed. And what happens, it is cross infection continuous, goes on, it never settles. Even you give the antifungal to both partners, it used to remain, because that fungus is the product of the disease is prior to it. And what is that disease is nothing but the psychotic miasm, which is prior to it. Unless you treat that psychotic miasm with the help of a proper remedy, you cannot treat it completely. So you have to treat both the things, you have to treat both partners. If you find it out, it might have a recurrence and it might be a product of psychotic or syphilitic miasm. You tell them clearly that both of you should be treated for that problem, then your problem will get settled. This is too important to understand. Same is true when we deal with the sterility cases. Whenever a sterility patient comes to you, it has been learned, I have learned it when I was a student. Our sir, Dr. I forgot his name, who was in the gynec department. Prachi, she might be knowing his name. Dr. Naniwadekar sir. Okay. Dr. Naniwadekar sir. He used to take the clinics. I was in third year or second year only, because we have the clinics compulsory. And he was imposing, whenever you are treating a case of sterility, investigate both the partners. First important thing, he used to tell every time, you have to investigate both partners, find it out cause, where is the cause, and then treat. If you find it cause with male, treat male. If you find it out cause with the female, then treat female. But this is too important. Whether we apply it in our practice, patient comes to you and patient gives the history that they don't have any issue, and you treat only the female. You never look towards the husband. And after treatment of 6 months, if the patient never gets a result, and then you ask whether you have done the semen examination, and you find that husband is azoospermic, and how can be the pregnancy or sterility would settle. I am telling you this in relation with leukorrhea, because acrid leukorrhea is one more reason to cause the sterility, and that can be tackled with the help of these medicines. So whenever you are treating any entity, think with a clinical knowledge, understand them very clearly, and apply your medicines. Whenever leukorrhea associated with severe itching, there is pruritus vulvi which is developed because of leukorrhea, and patient gets irritated tremendously. Yes, common remedy we know that creosote is very important remedy. But along with creosote, I used to always add the Caliphosphoricum associated with local calendula. This is my practice. You label me either classical or whether you label me anything, it doesn't matter. Prior important is my patient, and results are of prior importance for me. Patient should get satisfied with your treatment, and then patient remains for you forever. Whatever minute elements they comes to you and they ask, doctor, तुम्ही मागच्या वेळेला औषध दिलं, you have given me a treatment for last time and I am settled very nicely. Next day I was feeling better. This is the in fact prize which you get when you treat according to for what purpose the patient requires the medicine. So be practical when you are treating. Don't be a theoretical. People explains to you that they give single dose and patient cures forever. If it is so, everyone will get in homeopathy the Nobel Prize. This should not. You understand the things first. apply practically, and whatever I am telling is my experience. I am not imposing that this is the only thing, but this is practical hint which I have learned in 30 years, and every time I have applied the clinical knowledge to treat the patients. And I was lucky enough that I have learned clinical thoroughly in my college, during my college education, and I give most important respect to Dr. Bagli sir, who has told me that unless and until you learn patient or understand patient clinically, don't treat that patient. And examine every patient thoroughly, understand, go for find it out exact diagnosis and clinical diagnosis, confirm it, and then prescribe for the patient, and then you get a success in your practice. And this is what I am following. So whatever people will going to claim me or anything, that it doesn't matter. I don't care regarding this, but I used to do practice in this way. So we have discussed regarding the biocombination number 13, along with the details about leukorrhea and causes of leukorrhea. Again, one more new homework for you. Again, open your Gynec's books, find it out, leukorrhea chapter, read it thoroughly, find it out, cause, pathophysiology, causes, symptomatology, complications, everything, and then start you treating your patients. I am quite sure there are number of female homeopaths are there, and you can develop a complete Gynec homeopathic practice in your, if you go practically. So this is too important to understand all those things. We'll go ahead with the next biocombination, measles. There are a number of questions are there from the people, but we'll going to discuss all those things as we go ahead with the biocombinations. Every time we're going to discuss all those questions regarding ringworm and etc. Definitely whenever we'll reach to the biocombination number 20. But we'll go by sequence so that everyone will get accustomed to each and every combination. Next is very important, that biocombination number 14, a measles. Name is given as a measles, but I never used to use only during measles. It is simple combination and which is useful number of times in your practice. It contains three important ingredients. It contains the ferrum phosphoricum, it contains the kali muriaticum, and it contains kali sulfuricum. That's all. That is simple combination. A first important thing when you think about the ferrum phosphoricum, the ferrum phosphoricum is the remedy for the first stage of inflammation, as you know, and measles is the result of a virus. Which virus is there? It is a group of rubeola virus, which is the cause behind the measles. And you get these measles cases generally at the start of a summer very commonly. I never used to give directly at 14 number for these people. First important remedy which should touch your mind in such cases most commonly is the belladonna. Yes, definitely, because it has very typical scarlet fever like a rash, papular, miliary papular rash, which is rosacea, and that is very clear cut indication for a belladonna number of times. So first remedy I used to think about the belladonna. If there is any specific characteristic, then other remedies you can think, but belladonna along with ferrum phosphoricum 6x in the first stages settles patient very fast. So there is a span of 6-7 days period of measles, but because of homeopathic medicines, we cut short that. Every reaction happens to be there, but we cut short that period with the help of a homeopathic remedy. So after giving those remedies, ferrum phosphoricum or belladonna, you can settle that patient very early after giving medicine with expression of a rash. My suggestion is that if rash appears, it's very good thing, because whenever rash appears, the internal condition becomes settled and it comes out very easily. So first important thing, ferrum phos is the most important biochemic remedy in first stage of inflammation. Whenever the patient comes in congestion phase with a runny nose, with irritation, with a typical congestive rash or rosacea rash, miliary papular. Sometimes even a rash appears inside the mouth. If you find it out, the Koplik spots inside, then state changes and then it goes with the Kali muraticum. See, understand this, very important, that when you go towards, you understand that very clearly in patient's clinical examination, you can find it out, yes, Koplik spots are there. They are very typical on the mouth. And then you think that now it is not only ferrum pus, along with ferrum pus, you must add the Kali muraticum. It plays very vital role over there. Remedy, if you are going on the similimum, you can find it out whatever remedy may be there. It might be a pulsatilla, it might be a gelsemium, it might be anything. It's on the basis of very important, it's on the basis of symptom similarity. So characteristics, on the basis of characteristics you can find it out similimum. But along with that, when you think with pathophysiology about the biochemic remedies, you can apply this ferrum pus followed by Kali muraticum. And if that primary rash happens to be there to get infected with a secondary bacterial infection, you must think about Calcarea sulf or Kali sulf. Most common remedy is Kali sulfuricum. See, whenever it has been developed, that combination, it contains all those three things, and those are very important: ferrum pus, Kali mur, Kali sulf. But if you use according to the stages, it works very nicely. So I will not suggest that you give randomly the 14 numbers for every measles case. Instead of that, if this combination can be used even for the mumps. This combination, because there is again a first stage of inflammation or second stage of inflammation you can get. If it is hard, then you can think of a remedy Calcarea fluor along with that. So whenever any disease is there, for example, a measles is there, chicken pox is there, or mumps are there, these are viral infection, or nowadays there are a number of viral infections which doesn't have a name, you label it as a viral infection with a typical coryza cough fever and a rash. This is quite common presentation you can get in your practice. You must think about this combination. If there is a discharge happens through the eruptions. So if it is a chicken pox rash, you can think about this combination, because chicken pox rash, there are generally vesicular eruptions and pustular eruptions are quite common. So instead of considering measles as a combination, this can be a chicken pox combination. You can use the same formula, 4 tablets 3 times or 4 times a day, and it is very important for that time, for that purpose. So if it is so, now you think about, we are discussing about the measles. One more thing, few more hints which I want to tell you, that number of times if measles get suppressed because of some treatment, nowadays there are vaccines are given. MMR vaccines, measles vaccines, they are used, and that's why whenever measles happens to be there, that never comes out fully, and it comes out gradually, little bit rash only comes out, fever gets, and again for that rash, for itching, people gives the allopathic medicines. This measles, if it gets suppressed at that time, can lead to a dangerous complication. It can affect to the testes, it can affect the mammary, it can reflect there as an orchitis producing azoospermia, the long-lasting effects of the measles. So you must, whenever you are treating measles cases, ask them to visit your clinic daily, examine them, find it out whether they are going in right direction or wrong direction, because these things should not happen, that it is affecting over there the testes or the even breast, sometimes there is a fibroadenoma. Yes, I was going to tell about you case of a SSP, subserosal panencephalitis, a very dangerous complication of a measles, suppressed measles. Vaibhav have added over there, and that case I have brought out of the patient was in comatose condition for 1 year, and patient was brought to me from Ahmednagar to Sangamner in an auto, and when we saw that patient, there was zero reaction. Even I pinched his ear, so there was no reaction, and patient was since 1 year on bed. Only thing was he was eating everything whatever put in his mouth. There was urine, involuntary stool, involuntary used to happen, and that was alive only. It was just a live dead body. It's look like that, and on the basis of that I have selected, I think Vaibhav was there at that time, and I have given Zincum metallicum to that patient. After giving Zincum metallicum, within 15 days in first follow-up, patient was conscious. This is very important to understand, that if the suppressed skin eruptions, suppressed measles leading directly with the brain pathology, affecting, producing convulsions, epilepsy, etc., think of first remedy as a Zincum met. This is very important. Metastasis from skin to brain, Zincum is the very important remedy. So I brought that patient out, and I have treated him with the help of remedies along with the other remedy. He was on 4 to 5 anticonvulsants. Gradually I tapered every anticonvulsant, and later after 2 years of period there was no anticonvulsant was going, and he was not having no more convulsions thereafter. So this is very, very important things which are essential to understand when you practice. So you must know, if you don't know measles clearly, read it again. My suggestion is that open the books, read it again and again, and make clear in your mind regarding all those things, so that you can treat them very nicely with the help of homeopathy and biochemic remedies. So that is the 14 number combination, and we'll turn towards the last combination of today's session, that is bio combination number 15. It is very famous with the female students, female homeopaths. They used to use for every menstrual complaints. It is labeled as a menstrual disorders, but it is a broad name is given to it, that it is a menstrual disorders. But generally you have to understand what exactly it contains, then you can use that combination. And there are, if you find it out, a broad name, a menstrual problems or menstrual irregularities, this remedy will not going to suffice every time. It is not sufficient, and that's why, for what purpose you are giving this remedy, that you have to think a lot. It is a very broad, vague name is given to this bio combination, which is not so, and that's why you cannot use it every time. It is a remedy for dysmenorrhea. Yes, it will not going to work so much with the dysmenorrhea, not at all, because it never contains MAC-phos. So what are menstrual disorders exactly? That you have to understand first. Which are different menstrual disorders which used to happen over there. So unless and until we understand which are different menstrual disorders which are there, and for which the biocombination 15 is useful. So it is not for a dysmenorrhea biocombination 15 will work, not at all. If you will have a patient with a menorrhagia persistent for a longer time of duration, or if there is a patient with a metrorrhagia, or if there is a patient who is having a profuse menses, lot of bleeding, then you think about this remedy, because it contains 4 phos in it. If you go through it, you will instead accept MAC-phos, rest of the all phos are there in that combination. There is a ferrum phos, there is a calcarea phos, then there is a Kali phos, and there is a natrum phos. All those four phosphoricums are there in that combination. Phos, whenever comes, it is related with the bleeding tendency more commonly. Either bleeding or either a discharge from them. And that's why these four are very essential ingredients which are there, and you can tackle all those conditions very easily. It is not for irregularity of the menses, because this is not the theme. It has been mentioned, menstrual irregularities. Little bit helps, but I don't find it so, because if menstrual irregularity is there, delayed menses, and most hot topic of today's modern era is the polycystic ovarian disease. At that time, this remedy is not useful. Polycystic ovarian disease is because of number of causes. Modern era, the milk which contains lot of hormones and which the female takes, there are a number of things which are responsible to produce PCOD, and it is a psychotic disorder. So when you are treating polycystic ovarian disease or hypothyroidism, this combination will not going to work. You have to find it out what exactly the cause or what exactly the pathology you are treating in a menstrual disorder. So if it is polycystic ovarian disease, you have to think about all those remedies. And if there is after long time the patient gets a menses, and if it remains for longer time of duration, then you must add the biocombination 15. It is not for irregularities, it is not for delayed menses and you give the biocombination 15 and menses will appear. It is not so. So this remedy, it contains these 4 phos along with natrum sulf. Now what is the role of a natrum sulf over there? Natrum sulf, yes, it plays a very important role over there as a antipsychotic remedy. And antipsychotic problem or psychotic problem can be tackled with the help of a natrum sulf. But still, it is natrum sulf which is there, it is not just sufficient to cover the whole thing, because it is with all those phos, the one sulf is there. And that's why my suggestion always goes, whenever you are treating menorrhagia, metrorrhagia or polymenorrhea or profuse menses, think about this combination, but not for the irregularities of the menses. So that is one thing one must understand regarding this combination. There are number of menstrual irregularities problems arises over there. So that is a different issue that might be will require a single complete lecture to discuss the menstrual problems and homeopathic therapeutics. Dr. Sheetal, she has asked me, sir, we are running the hospital, gynec hospital, and I treat number of gynec obstetric patients with the homeopathy. Please discuss the therapeutics regarding the gynec disorder. So I will take a different session for the therapeutics, because that was there in my mind since long time, that this disease oriented study which I used to do, that I want to share with all the neophytes or homeopaths who are just started practice or starting practice. So that will be a different issue. We'll discuss that whenever I will start the therapeutic sessions related with specific disorder. But till that period, we'll stop over here, we'll conclude over here, because this is what we must understand regarding these 3 combinations. The biocombination number 13 for the leukorrhea, the 14 for the measles, and 15 for menstrual complaints, out of which the 13 we have discussed. Yes, we have learned a lot regarding 13. We have learned exactly the leukorrhea, the physiological, pathological, and then accordingly we have thought about the remedies, biochemic remedies, and when 13 can be given. Same is true for the 14 we have discussed. So it is not only for measles, it can be used for the chicken pox, it can be used for any fever with a rash, that is there, and 15 were just now we have discussed about the menstrual complaints. But keep it in your mind, don't use blindly all those combinations. Think before prescribing. Whatever combination is there with you, it little bit differences are there when they prepare the combinations. So which company's combination is there with you, look toward that, find it out the content, and then think about that when you will going to use that. So that you must be acquainted with that. That will be very useful for you in future. So we have covered all these three conditions in today's session. Tomorrow, yes, even though Sunday is there, we'll meet, because on Thursday there will be no lecture. Thursday there is a AIMS examination of my son. I have to go to Nasik for that purpose. So on Thursday there will be a will miss the session. So tomorrow I am going to continue with the same at the same time with the next 5 bio combinations. We'll think whether if it is possible to complete the 5, we'll do with 5, because 16 it is the nervous exhaustion, 17 is the piles, 18 is the pyorrhea, 19 is rheumatism, and 20 is skin affections. I don't think that these 4 will going to discuss completely in tomorrow's session. Let us try, let us see what happens, but we're going to discuss definitely at the same time. Thank you being there. Ask your friends to join our sessions. Ask them to subscribe the channel, go through the videos again, learn from the videos, and be there on till at least this month we'll get that we can meet daily at 2:30. So thanks a lot for attending the session, and we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time. So thank you all the doctors who were there in attending this session, and all the homeopaths and homeopathic students.